Well, you know, on TX Factor we've filmed in some very interesting places over the last 11 years, but I think there is no place where there's more ham radio activity in one spot than at Hamfest. So, proudly sponsored by the RSGB, this is our TX Factor special on Hamfest 25. Hi Chris.
Hi.
Another Hamfest underway.
Another one, yeah. I think the 13th, I think it is, from 2009. So
It must be a big relief to you when you get to the point when the doors open, everybody comes flooding in and you go, right, we're underway.
well, up until 10 o'clock, I'm herding cats, answering questions, moving tables and chairs and all sorts of things. So yeah, 10 o'clock, the pressure's off.
Well, as somebody told you earlier on, they said, why are you moving chairs?
Well, I'm the chairman now.
Makes sense, doesn't it? So tell us a bit about how this is organised, who organises National Hamfest, because it's a big undertaking.
It is a big undertaking. There's 5 directors of a limited company. We're a sort of charitable organisation in conjunction with 4 clubs in the area. So the clubs prepare the volunteers and they take a share of any money made at the show. So it's basically not for profit. We have an organising team, the 5 directors, so we organise, you know, the club staff, obviously the venue. I organise all of the trade, so every person inside the hall has come through me to organise what they want in the way of tables or position. And yeah, and it's 13 years down the road.
And a lot of volunteers help you make this happen, and those come from the 4 clubs, do they, that are part of your cooperative?
That's correct, yeah. So we do it on a share basis. So if you have members from your club come, we log how many hours they're here, and they get one share per hour per person. So it's a fair way of doing it. So if you have 50 people come and they have 10 people come, the money's distributed in a fair way.
Fate has thrown a few obstacles in the way of Hamfest, though, hasn't it, over the last few years?
Yeah, COVID has been a real I say a disaster, not necessarily a disaster. We've had, obviously COVID stopped the show for 2 years. Then we had a situation where the showground sold our dates to somebody else. We had to try and go to Peterborough, and 3 months before the event they sold the land for development, and we just had our contract cancelled, so we missed that year. But luckily we got back to Lincoln, to Newark rather, and we've got the contract in place for next year as well. So, you know, this year and next year we're on the cards.
A huge sigh of relief there. But when that happens, you must think, when there is so much involved in organising this, think, oh, is this all worth it? So what makes it worth it for you?
Well, I'm a natural organiser, I think. I like to, with my day job, I work with the RSGB and other magazines, so I organise a lot of these people into RadCom, and you know, I've been in the spotlight. That's not really the spotlight, but I've been at events for the last 20 odd years with the RSGB, so I know lots of people, and it just means that this is like dealing with friends really as much as anything. So.
And that's an important part of it, because an event like this, it's not just about the traders, it's not just about people coming to buy things, it is a social occasion.
Completely, yeah. We've got a coach load coming from my own club. There's 29 people coming on a coach here, and they'll have such a laugh on the way here. There'll be quizzes on the bus. You know, it's getting together with friends. You see people that you may have spoke to on the radio, and if you've got a badge on, people come up to you randomly and say, oh, I spoke, and you put a name and a face together, and it's a great way of socialising as well.
And to be fair, amateur radio was the first social media.
Exactly, yeah. And obviously here you've got all of the assets. You've got you know, people selling kits, you've got components, you've got radios, you've got the RSGB with their big stand and the books, you know, ICOM, all the manufacturers are here, so what's not to like?
Now I'm trying to figure out where to go next, because there's so much to see. Always the big dealers are here, so we've got ICOM. They always have a big stand here at Hamfest. And it's a great opportunity for ICOM and Yaesu to show off their latest bits of kit. And both of them here at Hamfest 25 got new things to show you, which we'll talk about later. The RSGB Village, that's here. There's all the different things that the RSGB do, Raynet, RadCom, their marketing and communications. This guy here with his holographic 3D fan, which is pretty impressive. And if you fancy going to a Hamfest somewhere sunnier than Newark, there's the Orlando Hamcation people who are always here at all the Hamfests we've been to, encouraging you to go to Florida and enjoy a bit of ham radio over there. Aha! Now here's the Yaesu stand, always busy. And one of the reasons the Yaesu stand is so busy this year is because they've got a brand new radio that they're showing to people that has really generated a lot of interest. And there's been a lot of people on the stand here having a look at it and having it explained to them by Karl from Yaesu and his crew. Karl, better known as the Yaesu main man. We always come to you when we have Yaesu questions. And you're here with your Yaesu stand at Hamfest, as you always are. You've always got a lot of great products on show, but there's one particular thing that everyone's interested in.
Which one that might be.
And now it's here, and I think you've had a lot of interest in this radio.
We have indeed, yeah. This is the FTX1. It comes in two versions. So this one is the field version, which is a little portable one. It's got a high capacity lithium ion battery pack at the back, 6.4 amp hours, so it'll last all day. Output power of 6 watts on the lithium ion, and 10 if you run it on 12 volts, okay? And it's got a few tricks up its sleeve.
First thing I notice about it is we've got the proper SDR waterfall display here.
Yes.
And so that looks great, and the colour display looks great. But as you say, it has a few tricks up its sleeve.
So on the going to the waterfall, it's now got averaging as an option. So you can have peak or averaging if you want on the waterfall display. It has 2 receivers on it. So you've got one receiver which covers HF, VHF and UHF. You've got another receiver that covers VHF and UHF. And you can then perhaps go operating portable, work on HF, whilst monitoring the local VHF repeaters at the same time.
And of course C4FM.
Of course C4FM. This covers all the normal modes, you know, AM, FM, upper lower sideband, digital modes, but C4FM as well.
And Wires X?
Coming soon. It has the button for it.
So it's in the firmware update.
Yeah,
and that's the other thing about the SDRs, isn't it? Because they're constantly upgradable.
They are indeed. This one's, like a lot of our modern ones, is quite easy to do with an SD card or a micro SD card. And you can then obviously upgrade it and get the new facilities. Yeah.
So what's the interest been in this from the amateur community?
Phenomenal, I think, is probably the, no 2 words about it. It's the versatility of it. Because at the moment we're showing you like the portable one here, but of course we do another version of it called the Optima, which you can basically clip an amplifier on the back and you get 100 watts on HF and 6.
I want to have a look at that. This is the Optima version then?
It is indeed, yeah. So it's still the same as the FTX1 field with the little head there, and comes with the lithium ion battery pack, the same as the field version, but it has a trick up its sleeve, and it's this item here. This is the SPA1 amplifier module, and it will take the sort of 6 or 10 watts from the field and amplify it. So it will give you 100 watts on HF and 6 meters, and it gives you 50 watts output on 4, 2 and 70. That's
right.
It. Yeah.
So absolutely brilliant. So you've still got all the facilities of the field. You can take this away. You could use this in your vehicle just on its own, the head unit, put that on a mount as you've got it here. And if you run it on the 12 volts, you're going to be getting the highest output you can get from the field on its own. And I think this will work with, I've got an ATAS antenna that will work with that, I think.
It will. So the ATAS will work with the head unit on its own, or you can use it with the amplifier from the Optima version.
I see you've got a USB-C socket on the side here, Karl, as well. What's that for?
So, well, it does 2 things. So one of its uses is it can connect to your PC, so you can do like data modes and like, programming memory channels and stuff. but it also supports USB-C power delivery.
Ah.
So there's a little trick. You can either charge the lithium-ion battery pack on the back of the radio via USB-C power delivery, or you can plug the charger directly into the battery.
Oh, that's got a socket on it as well.
It has. It's got USB-C power delivery as well.
Because I know there's a lot of accessories. You can buy an ATU that just bolts on the back of this, can't you? Or doesn't bolt, clips on the back of this. Clips is a better way of putting it.
Yeah.
So you can get an ATU for this, but if you have the Optima with the 100 watt amp, then that has the ATU built in.
That's correct. So there's two tuner options for the field version. So there's a clip-on one, which is a 3-to-1 tuner.
Yep.
That's the FC80. There's the FC90, which is a 10-to-1 tuner at 10 watts.
Yeah. So
like a little standalone unit. And then if you have got it plugged into the SPA1 amplifier, there's a 3-to-1 tuner. And it's also got two HF antenna sockets, as well as a VHF, UHF socket on the back.
And I noticed as you've got this one with the head separate, so you can have a separation cable. So you could have this set up in your vehicle and have this in the back or out the way or under the passenger seat or wherever you want it, and have the head on the dashboard.
So there's a little clip where the head clips onto. There's a little clip there which you can press to release the head from the radio. Yeah.
It's an amazingly versatile radio, isn't it?
Yeah. So you can use it in the field, in the car, or at home.
You know what I'm going to ask you next? Could we borrow one? Because we would love to put one of these through its paces and do a big TX Factor review of it.
Of course you can.
Hello, I'm Carlos.
Carlos, okay, and what are you doing here at Hamfest?
Well, I'm a full radio amateur. I used to be an amateur radio guy in Argentina. So yeah, we live here now. We moved 6 years ago. So we live in Colchester and we come to...
Okay, what's your call sign here?
It's Mike Zero Whiskey Charlie Echo. It would be Mike Zero Winston Churchill, England.
That's perfect. So what are your interests in amateur radio?
I'm always been interested in satellites. I used to do the microsats back in the day, packet radio, more the high bands, but I'm also trying to do a bit of HF. And now I'm trying to learn CW. Back in homeland, we don't have this kind of events, so yeah.
And it's good to, there's a lot of people to
talk to.
a
lot of people, a lot of stuff to do. You see all the stuff in the magazines and the videos, but now you can touch them, you can see them live, so yeah, it's okay, yeah.
Hi, who are you?
Lucy, M1ACB.
Okay, where have you come from?
Brightlingsea.
Right, and have you enjoyed the show?
I have. I've only been here for about an hour, but what I've seen so far is great, and I'm spending lots of money, so that can't be bad.
That's good. What are your interests in amateur radio?
Portable mainly. So things like Porter, and also working just portable from the beach where I live. So I'm quite lucky because I live near to salt marshes, so it's pretty good for me to get out there.
Really great. What would you say to people who haven't come to Hamfest before?
I think it's well worth coming. There's so much here to see, and there's so many interesting people that you bump into that perhaps you've spoken to on the radio, and then you can meet them in the flesh, which is quite a novelty, isn't it? But lots of interesting stands, and I bought some interesting books from the RSGB bookstall as well.
Obviously, the RSGB have a big presence here at Hamfest, and here's Steve Thomas, General Manager of the RSGB, and so you've been overseeing all of this. There's a lot here, which we'll talk about later on. But I had one question. Okay. Seeing as there's so much RSGB presence here, why be a member of the RSGB? What are the benefits?
Oh, so many. But everybody always thinks of the main benefit as being RadCom, right? Everybody sees that. But there is so much more to the RSGB than just RadCom. It is a hugely important membership benefit to us. We absolutely appreciate that. But there is a lot more as well. People also think that all we do is sell books. So we have about 200 titles of books. We're probably the main producer of amateur radio books in the English language. So we're very proud of that. But again, I'm going to say this a lot, we are much more than just a bookshop. A lot of the other things that members benefit from, perhaps free entry into Bletchley Park, where they can see the RSGB National Radio Centre. just on the National Radio Centre, we see 80,000 visitors a year at the NRC. And that's our volunteers introducing amateur radio to those people who may never have seen it. We don't think there's anywhere else in the world that does that for amateur radio, so we're immensely proud of it.
You mentioned the NRC, because I get on QR100 quite often at weekends, and I've spoken to your volunteers there when they've got some members of the public who've come in who know nothing about amateur radio, and they're just well impressed with a satellite contact, even just hearing their own voices come back from the satellite in delay.
It's magic stuff to people who've never seen it before. So the way we run the NRC is to have a wide range of things, because you never know who's going to walk through the door and what they might be interested in. So all sorts of things that we can actually demonstrate there. But one of the really key things for youngsters is Morse code. Yeah. They absolutely love it. And we do the little snail Morse keys that they can build themselves, and they can send their name in Morse and get a certificate, and they get some engagement. They love it. So we think that's hugely important. But it's also, people visit it and remember that they used to be interested in amateur radio, and they come back into it again. It reminds them there's a whole load of things that the NRC does brilliantly for us.
And resource-wise, you offer so much more, as you said, than just the books and RadCom, because you are here to be a resource for radio amateurs.
Absolutely. If I think about what we run from HQ, that's my team at RSGB HQ in Bedford. So we cover their membership. So Debbie, who's just sitting over there, is our membership secretary. She looks after membership. We sell the books from there, but we also run the exams as well. So there's a service there even before people think about joining the RSGB. We ran last year over 3,000 exams of the 3 different levels, so we run all of that from there. We produce RadCom, of course, and the Ed is here, the RadCom editor. We produce that at HQ. We also run all of the comms and media and marketing activities from there. So my team look after that as well. There's a whole range of things that we do at HQ. But again, the RSGB is much more than just that. I'm going to keep saying it. So we've got activities going on here where we've got one of our youth champions is here. We've got people here showing Morse code testing that we do. We've got our new maker champion here. So makers, people who like to build things, do things, maybe they haven't heard of amateur radio. We're trying to take amateur radio to new audiences. So our maker champion's here demonstrating all sorts of things that he's been building and amateurs might like to try. But the key to all of this is membership, right? Membership pays for these activities to go on and spread the word of amateur radio, but people get the services as well, like the ones I've been through and mentioned. So more than books, more than RadCom, so many more things.
And the important thing about membership is this idea that as radio amateurs, we're stronger if we're working together, if we are a large group when it comes to talking to Ofcom, when it comes to the ITU and negotiating what bands amateurs are going to get. This is something as individuals we can't do.
Hugely important to us. Spectrum defence is probably one of the biggest reasons where you don't feel like you've seen a tangible benefit until something happens. Right? So spectrum defence is, we've got some very expert people. We work with the IARU, International Amateur Radio Union, where all of the national societies come together, and then we fight those threats to the spectrum.
So the good thing is that you here at Hamfest have got quite a few of those people within the RSGB who provide all these services to the amateur community, so that people can meet them and find out what they do, and we're going to meet some of them later on. But before we do that, I wanted to bring you back to RadCom. I know that you're more than RadCom, but it's still very important to the society, and you've been doing some interesting developments with RadCom.
And you know I'm passionate about those developments, so yeah, excellent. I'd love to show you.
And we'll be taking an in-depth look at those exciting developments with Bob and Steve Thomas later in the programme.
Hi, who are you?
I'm ZB2JK.
Right, visiting from Gibraltar.
That's correct.
Okay, and what do you think of Hamfest?
It's good. I know a lot of people over here because in Gibraltar I'm very active. I've worked most stations in the UK, and of course it's good to pick up a few bits as well.
Yeah.
But I try to combine it with a trip to see family also.
Okay, so I noticed you're We've had pretty good weather over here through the summer, but you're looking more bronzed than the rest of us.
It's been a hot summer. We started off in May, maybe 30 degrees, and we're still 30 degrees. So it'll start to cool down in the next few weeks.
So what's ham radio activity like in Gibraltar?
There's not that many of us. We have a radio club over there, which is called GARS, Gibraltar Amateur Radio Society, which was established back in the 60s. It was an offshoot of the RAF ZB2A station, and a few locals got together and created the club.
So what do you get up to in terms of amateur radio personally?
We're quite an active society. Not so many members because we're so small. We have a population of just under 30,000 people. Radio hams in Gibraltar, maybe we have about 40. Active, maybe about 5. Club members, maybe about 15.
So what do you personally like to do amateur radio-wise?
I like to work portable on top of the rock with the monkeys.
Okay, up there with the monkeys in the background. And one important question, have you spent some money while you're here?
Oh, plenty. I've got a couple of things on the floor there behind me.
Oh, here's something I'm very much interested in, because I've got to do some replacement antenna supports at the home QTH, and I've got some new masts I'm putting up. And here's a stand that's got everything we need, including, I don't know if you've done this, but I've used the old cheap old nylon rope you get from the hardware store. It's holding up my G5 RV at the moment, but only just, because it's all gone UV fully to pieces. And I see we've got the proper stuff here. So I'm going to have a word with them about that. And for you, for your benefit, we're going to have a word with a lot of people here at Hamfest 25 and have a close look at some of the goodies on offer.
And because there's so much to see at Hamfest, we've had to produce another TX Factor episode to cram it all in.
RadCom has gone electronic.
Yes, it's something we've been working on for some time. And we have, the traditional members absolutely love paper RadCom. And they would hate it if we took it away, and we've got no intention of doing so. However, we also had people that said, please give us a digital version of RadCom, because they end up with a stack of RadComs, in the shack that they don't know what to do with. So we've been working on this for some time, and we've now got a tool that we really enjoy. We launched the web version back in May, and we've been building on it, expanding things, and we've got it to a stage now where we really think it's a good tool for members to use.
Members can access this then through a web browser, and so you can look at it on your iPad, your PC, your Mac, whatever.
They can. It's built using something called a progressive web app, which means it adapts to whatever screen size you're using it on.
The web stuff is great, we all know how that works, but you know what the question everybody always asks is, have you got an app?
Nearly. We've been working on it for some time, and that's what I want to show you today. Okay, so we've been working on the digital platform for RadCom for some time. We had to actually change some of our membership system to integrate with this, but it's now fully integrated and working really well. So I'll just show you that. The web version has been working since May, and what I'm actually using here is a pre-release version of the mobile version that's available for Apple and Android, and they're just about to be submitted to those stores for approval. But we thought we'd really like to show you the pre-release version of the way it works. So you can see me, I'm using it here on an iPad, and we've got it mirrored to the screen over there so other people coming past can see. So what we've got in this tool is we've already got 25 years of RadCom. They're already in the app or available on the web, and you can scroll through the whole 25 years if that's how you like to do it. It shows you the first few, and then you can load more, and that gives you the whole 25 years. So that's all of the editions of RadCom, and I will put more in there. We've just started with 25 years. But as well as RadCom, then we've also got all of the editions of RadCom Plus, the slightly more advanced version of RadCom. We've got all of the editions of RadCom Basics. That's for people who want to try something new in amateur radio, or they're new to amateur radio. So all of the RadCom RadCom Basics are in there. We've got those first three are for members only. So if you're a member, you get access to that. Then we've got the affiliated clubs newsletter, which we send out to clubs who are affiliated, and their members can view it in the app as well. And then we've also got RadCom samples at the end, which again is open to the entire world. Anybody can access it. And we're going to change that sample version every now and again. But I've also got some historic ones in there as well. But if we go back to the main event, really, RadCom, then for any edition, if we open that edition, then we can go through a full-featured version of RadCom, and we can scroll through that way. If we view all the pages at the bottom, we can scroll through all of the pages of RadCom and choose the ones we want to go to. If I turn it sideways, then it goes full screen. But the other thing you can do, if the eyesight isn't great, you can zoom in to any piece of text in there as much as you want to and zoom out again. To turn it sideways, we go back to 2 pages again. We know that people like the paper version of RadCom, and we're absolutely going to keep that. But what we need to do is add extra features to the electronic version to make it attractive. So it's not just a copy of the paper magazine, although that's important to some people because you can search through that whole archive. So you can search for any subjects back through those 25 years. But we want to add extra features as well. So at any point where there's an email address or a URL, then you can click on it and it goes to that page, right? So it does that automatically. So on this page, for instance, this is an antenna that the RSGB has been offering for sale, a Momo Beam 6 and 4 meter Moxon antenna. So we've got in this edition here, we've got your normal review of RadCom, and Fraser here has built the antenna, written us a great review for it. But what he's also done is recorded a YouTube video, and that little icon in the corner there means that I can tap on that and it will actually play Fraser's video live in the digital edition from YouTube. And of course here, because we've just seen the video from Fraser of the antenna, we've got an advert for that antenna on the next page. And then of course we can just click the RSGB shop URL here at the bottom of the page, and it takes you where you can actually buy that antenna. So we're linking lots of things, linking back to our website, linking back even to the advertisers' websites. If they put a URL in their advert, they can click on it, it takes people straight to their website as well externally. That's just some of the things that we can do with this digital edition, but there's still much more to show you.
Well, I'm sure a lot of people are going to be looking forward to the release of this in the app version for Android and for Apple devices, and it's coming soon to a device near you. One of the great things about Hamfest, of course, is having a look at the flea market, which is outside, and there's all kinds of interesting things, particularly for somebody like me who likes old Yaesu gear. And there's a, goodness me, there's a 401B there and a 101, my first decent HF rig, I have to say, which was so many years ago. I don't want to remember it, but I think what quite a lot of us do, isn't it? We remember those first rigs that we had, and then you have a sort of nostalgic urge to go and get one and get it back in the shack. So, and I definitely have that urge, but before I go over there and spend the money, I'm going to go and look at some other stuff, because I have told Mrs. McCready many times that you can't have too many radios, but I'm not sure she actually believes that. I think we all appreciate that something that's very important to the future of amateur radio is recruiting more young people. And it's for that reason that the RSGB has outreach to the young people who might join our hobby and recruits people like Sam M0UEL, who is Youth Champion, which is a very feisty sounding title. What does that mean, Sam?
So my role is to try and encourage outreach into specific groups. So I'm the youth champion for Scouts, Cadets and Girl Guiding. So my focus is on those three particular, the uniformed groups basically of young people, and trying to encourage our hobby within them specifically. So we also have Chris, who is our youth champion for schools and therefore focuses on building activities within those, and Reese, who's our youth champion for universities.
I understand there's some pretty exciting things happening in the RSGB in your area at the moment.
Yes, so recently we've announced the DMR project. So the RCF has worked with us to provide some funding, so we will be providing handheld DMR handsets and some MMDVM boards to schools that apply and are successful as a temporary loan, and they will be funded for one of the teachers to get a foundation license, so they can therefore operate these sets. We'll be running some youth nets regularly to try and get them in contact with each other, and it's hopefully with the view that they will then, now they have this license and this experience, continue to run hopefully a club or even just activities within their school once they return the kit to us, to then pass along forward to another school.
That sounds like a great idea then, because you're encouraging people to have their first QSO and not be mic shy, but actually talk to people and people they know.
Yes, and I think hopefully the fact that it's other schools will help promote the lack of concern. There'll be people roughly their age, or at the very least other teachers, and it's also quite nice to promote within youth. So obviously it's potentially quite rare. It was a while before I heard another youth operator on the air, and actually it's quite nice that their first contact will be with somebody who's sharing that same experience.
So with your focus on the uniform youth groups, I'm guessing that the Scouts and the Guides, those kind of folks are doers anyway. So this is a hobby that can kind of integrate with what they do in a number of ways.
Yeah, of course. So my background personally is in Scouting. So they have the communicator badge in Scouts. I've been looking to work with Scouts HQ to develop that badge further, make it a bit more current with the times, and hopefully try and promote radio even more. Of course, they have events like JOTA. The cadets have Exercise Blue Ham on 5 megahertz, where we work across each other. They use their cadets call signs, which are obviously a different format, which makes it a bit more interesting to people who've not done it before. But it's a nice opportunity to do so with all the groups.
For you personally then, Sam, what was your route into amateur radio?
I actually took up amateur radio over COVID. With my dad, we took the exam at the same time. When the exams moved online, we met a group of amateurs out operating lighthouses on the air, and thought it was very interesting. They told us the exams had recently moved online, and we just thought, why not give it a try? And long story short, here I am today.
Which is great.
Yeah.
In explaining this to other people who aren't radio amateurs but are your sort of age, how do you tackle the kind of difference that amateur radio can bring compared with other ways? They can communicate, they can send texts, they can phone people up, they can be on a WhatsApp group, or be Instagramming a picture of their dinner. What is the difference that amateur radio brings?
Yeah, I've always just found it interesting that it is so different. It's not something that a lot of people do. Compared to obviously text people and call them on the phone, but it's a bit more of a challenge as well. You don't know for sure that there will be somebody on the other end. Personally, I'm quite an enjoyer of contesting, although I can't say I've done a huge amount of it. It's that little bit of challenge that it enables that I find quite interesting overall.
I suppose the maker community as well, because this is something that's growing quite a lot, isn't it? That's another area that you can target.
Yeah, of course. They seem to be a quite big foundation of the youth community as well. For example, Leon, who I recently met, he's intermediate going on full hopefully soon. Good luck to him in his exam, of course. He's come into it through building. He's only actually recently started to get on the air, but he's been enjoying building for such a long time, and that was his routine. So it's different for everyone, of course.
When you're speaking then, Sam, to other people your age who aren't radio amateurs, and they say, so what's your hobby, Sam? And you say, well, actually, I'm into amateur radio. What's the general reaction you get?
Usually skepticism and a little bit of interest. It's intriguing to them because, as I said, it's very different. But of course, they have the standard reaction that I think we've all experienced of, well, I can call somebody, why wouldn't I? One example is that I've got a lot of friends who are into CW quite a lot in the youth community. It seems to be much more popular than I'd have ever expected before I took up the hobby, and it's just interesting that everyone enjoys these different little bits that you don't have off the shelf as such. You aren't presented with it when you first start, and you find your little niche.
And CW are a very good example because you've got to put some work in yourself to develop the skill.
Yes, of course. So we actually at the event I went to a few weeks ago in Paris, the Region 1 youth camp, there were a lot of events specifically focusing on CW, of course, amongst many others. But we, for example, built 3D Morse keys, soldered some Win keys, and there are presentations on where's best to start from all the staff who've obviously got some experience themselves in that area, because everyone's got to start somewhere.
Well done, Sam, for what you're doing and what your other youth champions are doing, and thank you so much, because the future of the hobby, frankly, is in your hands.
Yeah, of course, thank you. Hopefully it'll be going this well for quite a long time.
Hi, who are you?
My name is Tahir, and I've recently got the amateur radio license. I'm new to this hobby.
Oh, great.
My background is telecommunication, but I've recently got my license. My call sign is M7TAQ.
Well, welcome to amateur radio.
Yeah.
So, is this the first of these kind of shows you've been to?
Yes, it's the first time, and I'm trying to convince my son as well to give an exam soon and get the license as well.
And that's what we want, because we need more people like you in amateur radio as well, more young people. That's definitely what we need.
Exactly.
So, what are your interests in amateur radio so far?
Well, basically, I was doing telecommunication from, I would say, my early age. But one thing which actually always attracted me, I had in my class standard 7, there was a teacher of mine who had a friend from Germany, and he told me they're radio friends, and they were visiting him from Germany in Pakistan. That attracted me a lot, and that kept me in my mind. What was that? But until last 2 years ago, I started exploring more and more about that, and and then I realized how they were speaking and everything. I knew, and I didn't know how the VHF and UHF worked until that time. Yeah, I was playing along with on PMR with walkie-talkie, but I didn't ever knew about how this HF works and how the Ionosphere works and all the communication around the world.
So there is so much that opens up to you once you get into it.
Exactly. Even though I know about voice over IP, my core background is voice over IP, but to know about the wireless communication, it was a totally new thing for me.
Well, welcome to Amateur Radio. I
Yeah.
hope you're enjoying the show.
Definitely,
But make sure you
definitely.
keep spreading the word, not just to your son, but to everybody else.
Definitely, I'm convincing a lot of people, yeah.
Dom 2E0WHQ here with a bunch of people building, so we're at Building HQ really with you. So what exactly is happening here?
I'm with the RSGB Youth and Outreach team, and today we're at Hamfest. We're running a buildathon where we're encouraging people to come along and have a go at building a fairly simple kit, which is a FM receiver. And we've had lots of youngsters come along, which has been fantastic. So we're coming along, helping them to build these kits.
So the point is, these aren't experienced builders. These are people who may not have built anything before at all.
Absolutely, yeah. As I say, many of them are youngsters, 8 and 9 year olds we've had here this morning, and we've just been supervising, pretty much leaving them to get on reading the instructions of the kit, but just helping out with soldering techniques where we can and building techniques. But yes, many of them haven't ever made a kit before they came here.
And I suppose what you're trying to do is encourage people into the area of amateur radio that has been a little bit forgotten, because we'll buy stuff off the shelf. Get back to making things. It's fun.
Absolutely. People tend to forget that amateur radio is an experimental hobby, and we're trying to encourage people getting back to those grassroots of amateur radio, building your own stuff, building your own test equipment, building little useful circuits and stuff that will be helpful in the shack. And it's just another avenue of amateur radio which people can do. And as you say, Kanga kits are here. And there's plenty of useful kits that you can get hold of that will encourage them to use them in the hobby.
And what's the success rate been? Has everybody managed to build a working radio?
We've only had one failure so far. It was making a noise but wasn't tuning. But funny enough, the person who was helping their son or grandson, I think it was, build it, they actually designed Marconi equipment. So they said they're going to take it home, put it on their test equipment at home, and work out why it won't tune. So there you go. It's a bit
of advanced fault finding going on there.
Exactly. So we had another one that was no audio. I quickly had a look at it, and there was just a slight problem with the soldering got that fixed though, and they went home happy as well.
And it's all part of the learning, isn't it, Dom?
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah, and I've been very privileged to come here and help out today.
Here we are then, back at the TX Factor booth after a day walking around Hamfest, and just checking my list to see that we have spoken to everybody we wanted to speak to. There was so much to see here, so footsore but happy. We've had a great time, enjoying a cup of coffee now, and I hope you've enjoyed our TX Factor special on Hamfest 25, proudly sponsored by the RSGB. And remember, if you'd like more information about any of the things that we featured on the show, check out our show notes, we'll put the links there. So, hope you've enjoyed it. See you next time.